Alright, what's up, y'all? It's LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, we're here to ask, are 7'3 centers now underrated in NBA 2K22 Next Gen? So recently, in the comp pro-am scene and stuff like that, you've been seeing these 7'2 glitch metric builds popping off. Or, even for that matter, for any of the big center advocates and just people who are very into the tall centers and stuff like that, you've seen a lot of people start leaning toward the 7'2 metric right here. And for good reason. I'm here to showcase both of these builds right here. But, again, we're here to ask, are 7'3 centers now underrated for that exact same reason? And then we're also going to talk about maybe just the topic of tall centers in general, how people are maybe leaning toward the smaller builds like 6'9", 6'10s, 6'11s, and 7-footers and stuff like that for mobility and speed. And overall, I'm just going to be upfront with you guys. Personally, I feel like these tall centers, they move perfectly fine. If you can't move with 63 speed on these 7'3s, I don't know what's wrong with you, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. They move so glitchy. It's honestly so dumb that a build so tall and such long wingspan is even allowed to be that fast in general. And overall, you don't even take that much of a hit when it comes to being a little bit underweight or anything like that. 237 is plenty fine, gives you Hall of Fame rebound chaser, and obviously can get you around 70 strength. And overall, you really don't get dominated that bad by taller and heavier centers. Now, I know there's a wave of people in the comments right now that are like going crazy on the keyboard or crazy on their phone or anything like that and talking about how they just dog all these underweighted centers and stuff like that. But again, I really do think with Hall of Fame box, Hall of Fame worm, you can get the job done on anybody that you want, and with that having the 99 rebound, overall just taller centers, they're really good. But again, we're here also to talk about the difference between the two builds, so I hope you enjoy. We're going to get straight into that. So first and foremost, we're going to start with the 7'3". This is going to be just default height, default weight, default wingspan, all types of stuff like that. So 7'3", 237 weight, 8'1" wingspan, gives you the Hall of Fame rebound chaser, enough for silver interceptor, all types of stuff like that. You do want to max out the perimeter defense 100%, I would think. I've also come to learn you don't really need acceleration on builds that you don't plan to handle the ball with anyway. It doesn't work toward defense, it doesn't work toward off-ball offense. So if you're just a role player center and you're not coming out here doing a lot with the ball in your hands on your own, highly recommend for you to just pretty much cut out acceleration. What you're going to be looking at right here is an upgraded version of the 7'3 that I use for Pro-Am. It's literally just as simple as this: really high finishing, 99 close shot, not to mention mouse in the house, just working on anybody who's smaller than you for that matter. And yes, it's not quite as effective for, let's say, going against 7'2 metrics, but it still works against them. And it does go a long way with that, if you ask me. And then you still have 99 standing dunk, Hall of Fame on so many key finishing badges. You got things like rise up, posterizer, mouse in the house, grace under pressure, fast twitch, obviously just all the key essentials. And it's literally as simple as that. Not to mention the hook specialist ability. That's another thing that adds to it as well. With post control, we have it at 81. I think it's plenty good enough for like just gold back down punisher. And for that matter, I don't even run anything higher than maybe like silver back down punisher, and at best silver drop stepper. So it's plenty fine. With this build right here, you're going to have 49 mid-range. Now, the thing is, if you make this as a rebirth, you actually get 1 out of 0 shooting badges, so you're going to be able to run bronze celebrity off-ball as well. And 87 free throw, plenty doable as well. 85 pass accuracy, literally just the standard thing that you need for every build. It's pretty self-explanatory. We're not going to talk about this stuff too much. A lot of you guys know, I mean, we're pretty deep into the year, and everybody knows how to work the My Player Builder at this point. But anyway, the defensive badges, huge, 40 of them. And at this point, I've hit level 40 in every season. So not only do you get the +4 defensive badges from just the free college stuff, so that's 44. But on top of that, we're 5 seasons in, man, and I've hit level 40 in every one of them. So that'd be 49 defensive badges you can put on this build. And people might think, oh, that doesn't even matter. You can't really do anything with that. Well, you can get Hustler for 5. You got Pogo Stick, Rebound Chaser, Intimidator, Box, Brick Wall, Chase Down Artist. You got things like, obviously, Worm, Rim Protector. I mean, it goes a long way. You still even need to run Silver Interceptor, or at least bronze on that, and you do need a lot of defensive badges. So what's so nice about these tall bigs is the fact that they are the ones that get these super high defensive badge counts. When you go lower on the height and stuff like that, not to say that 7'2 metrics can't get 40, but the lower and lower you go, around 7 foot to 7'1", or even lower like 6'10", 6'9", stuff like that, you can't get 40 defensive badges. You can't really even get like 36 or anything like that. It kind of just keeps on going lower and lower depending on how much lower your height is. Same problem that I think a lot of locks run into is that you can't make lockdown builds with 40 defensive badges because your things like interior defense or block rating don't go high enough, or rebounding for that matter. Whereas on this build, it seems they don't really take perimeter D and steal into account for the total defensive badge count really mattering. So anyway, to get back to the topic right here, I mean, you're looking at this build, 61 speed, 67 strength, and 65 vertical. You think those physicals are just garbage, right? You're thinking, oh, it's too weak. It's not going to hang with the strength with taller, like fatter bigs, or just heavier bigs, if you will. and then it's too slow. You're thinking 61 speed is just not enough. I'm here to tell you right now that is not the case. You really can move really good with these tall bigs, and for that matter, I even was sleeping on them for a while. I've been kind of back and forth this year as far as how I feel about tall bigs versus undersized bigs, and I'm definitely in the direction of thinking that these centers right here, they just dominate rebounding and they dominate shot blocking and interior defensive ability, and you don't get mashed like that on 7-3s either. You can definitely play solid hands up, or for that matter, when you do pogo stick jump, you really create a big threat when it comes to the defensive ability. So overall, I think these 7-3s are really problematic, bro. I think they really are a tough threat when it comes to interior offense and interior defense, and then screen setting ability too. Let's not discount that. Hall of Fame brick wall goes a long way, and just the big body in general, it's so much better of a screener than my undersized bigs that I have, and that's just undeniable. Now, the thing is, you don't really run a lot of full screens in Pro-Am. A lot of times defenders will step up really high, so you end up slipping pretty often, but the threat of you screening is the big thing. If you come out there and screen with, like, let's say a 6'5" build or something like that with bronze brick wall, they're not stepping up as high because they don't have to respect the screen quite as much. So your ability to screen gets you open even more on the slips. But again, nonetheless, we're here to talk about this and the difference between this and the 7'2" metric. So just get a good look at this as far as the build goes. The takeover options, very standard, just literally glass and rim, simple as that. So now here we are looking at the 7'2" metric, but before we talk about this 7'2", I want you to notice the visual difference in height between these two builds that are lined up standing directly next to each other, right? So you can see visually that the 7'3" is quite a bit taller. The problem is with the 7'2" metric glitch right here, where you get 75 vertical for the elite big man contact dunks and just in general to be more agile on your feet and stuff like that, you're clearly taking a visible height difference. And the thing is, it's really more like 7'1.5". So you're not really 7'2", you're like an inch and a half shorter. And my boy AK doesn't really believe in that. He thinks that anything, if it says 7'2", it's gonna visually show up and play like a 7'2", but the truth of the matter is it's a little bit smaller than actually 7'2". So you're really like an inch and a half shorter, and it does add up to an extent. I mean, as we all know, the bigger you are, just the better the rebounding. That's really as simple as that. Now, this is a really good trade-off though. The physicals to the height aspect ratio on that is really big. So right here we have 7'2". Once again, this is not how you're going to build the build. You can't just load it up in the default Imperial system and load up 7'2", 235, 8-foot wingspan and get these stats. You have to do it in the glitch metric way. I have a video on that if you guys want to check it out. Just look up LakerFan every glitch metric build. You'll be able to find that easy. But anyway, let's talk about this stuff. So I had to take the close shot down a little bit because there's so much more you invest into this build. A little bit more driving dunk, a little bit more driving layup. You have things like obviously perimeter defense and steal have more capability as well, even more speed, more vertical, more strength. So you're probably asking, what makes a 7'3" any better than this? Well, the thing is, like I said, height does go a long way, but I do want to absolutely vouch for builds like this. It is so crazy good. Like, I mean, you can see 67 steal, you still have good block, good O-board, good D-board. You have 75 vertical with even more strength than the build that I had before because you have to up the weight a little bit, and you even have more speed. Now, I don't think the increase of speed is that significant though. I think the taller you are, the more the speed kind of doesn't matter quite as much. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that a 7'3" can get away with having 25 speed, but just think about it like this. If a 7'3" has 61 speed and a 6'1" had 61 speed, you're gonna know, like, clearly one of them moves better than the other. You can't even imagine a 6'1" with 61 speed. It'd be awful, it'd be atrocious. But again, that's just to kind of give yourself that perspective where the taller build can look better when it comes to being fast, even if it doesn't have quite as good of speed. Anyway, the 7'2", like I said, is really devious. I mean, you can see it's got the same capabilities of the 7'3". Again, I feel like you do have to kind of just drop this close shot down to 93. I don't think you really afford to have it on 99. I even took the acceleration down quite a bit. You still obviously want the steal, and even if you did take the steal down and maybe perimeter even more, I don't think you really should. But as you can see, even taking the steal down doesn't even give you one more close shot to add. So it's something you might just have to deal with. I think that is something that's pretty hard to budget. If you wanted to, you low-key could go to 90 standing dunk and just settle for gold posterizer and gold rise up. I really don't think that's that bad. I'm even running gold rise up myself just because I feel like it's not even worth running on Hall of Fame. But honestly, it's probably up to you. But as you can see, you could definitely afford to go with the 99 close shot if that is the case. And I think that's a little bit more valuable, to be honest with you. And 90 still gives you elite big man contact dunks, so you could rock out with this. So it's all just kind of a difference in opinion based on the heights. And it's all just because, like I said, you unlock more driving dunk. What is very underrated about the 7'2" metric is that you get silver limitless takeoff, whereas the 7'3" doesn't. It's not a huge deal, but it does go a long way if you're someone who does a lot of like long distance dunks, or you want to get the best quick drops, animations, and stuff like that. But again, you're probably asking, well, why are you even vouching for 7.3s in the first place if the 7.2 is so significantly better? Again, the thing is, it's not actually 7.2. It's really, in my opinion, closer to 7'1". And at that point, like, these are stats of a 7'1" build as well. Now, truth be told, that's how every metric build works. I mean, most of them aren't exactly the actual height. Some of them are closer, some of them are further away. This one happens to be further away, and that's the thing. It's just really, it's pretty much a 7'1" build. That's how I see it. And some people kind of trick their mind into thinking that it's a 7'2". And then again, this is where we get into that whole undersized versus oversized topic. I mean, obviously I like my 7-footer, but the 7-footer, if you want to make that case, has 74 speed and 85 vertical for only being like 2 inches shorter than this build right here. So honestly, it's just all about figuring out the right balance between height versus speed versus vertical and stuff like that. And I really do think the 7'3" is slept on in that regard. You don't see a lot of comp pro-am heads running the 7'3s anymore. It's mostly glitch 7'2s, like I said, and for valid reason. I mean, you do want more mobility, more speed, more steel, stuff like that. But again, I just do think the 7'3s have been slept on quite a bit. Anyway, that's all video. I hope you all enjoyed. I know it's not so much of a deep cut, crazy topic, but I did want to just talk about this right here. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, for to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all the good stuff, and like always, try to 500 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put which one you prefer. You could put 7.3 or 7.2 in the comments to show support's made all the way through. Whichever one you think is better or you prefer, or which one you have and you enjoy more, feel free to just leave that in the comments. But anyway, like I said, that's all for video. Hope you all enjoyed. And that, take it easy, man. Peace.